are a number of benefits to reclaiming yarn. Obviously, in the first instance, it's good for the environment, and reclaiming yarn specifically is even better for the environment than, say, purchasing recycled yarn, as there is no reprocessing required. The product is taken directly from the garment. This means that the yarn is effectively zero carbon. It's also great for saving money and saves wastage of unwanted knitwear. I find that the average jumper can provide about 300 grams of yarn. Also, you can often find some really great colours in knitwear in jumble sales or charity shops. The manufacture of acrylic yarn is not particularly great for the environment, as it requires fossil fuels and produces toxic fumes when manufactured. So it's great to actually reclaim yarn from second-hand garments, as this avoids the harm that can be caused through manufacture of brand new yarn. I have found that unwanted knitwear can be as little as 20p at a jumble sale. Charity shops tend to be a little more expensive. Before I harvest the yarn, I always wash and dry the garment. When selecting knitwear to reclaim yarn from, there are some things to consider. Garments with thicker yarns with good definition to the stitch texture tend to be easier to unravel. Fluffy yarns can be more tricky, as the fibres get caught and twisted with the friction of unravelling the yarn. Manufactured knitwear tends to use thinner, untwisted yarn, so you'll find that it's slightly different from a standard DK or Aran yarn if you buy a manufactured one that's specifically for home crochet or knitting. It's important to try and choose garments with simple stitches such as plain or stocking stitch, and where possible avoid garments with lots of pockets and embellishments, buttons, that sort of thing, or decoration. Large panels of plain knitting are easier to unravel, and more yarn can be salvaged from these. Garments with simple side seams or constructed from panels or tubular construction are often the best to get yarn from. Tubular knitting is obviously easier to unravel, as this can be done in one go. However, seams can be unpicked, and front, back and sleeve panels can be unravelled. When unpicking seams, I find it's important to try to be careful to only cut the yarn that joins the panels and not the panel itself. Once you've separated your panels of knitting, cut straight across the top of each separated panel and start to loosen that yarn at the top, and discard any stray scraps of cut yarn from this top edge. Tease the yarn away from the top row, and gradually the yarn will start to pull away in one piece. I found the salvaged scrap yarn perfect for blankets, scrap bags and all sorts of projects, and is a brilliant way of economising and doing our bit for the planet.